Well, that just takes your breath away. It's probably appropriate that our final presentation today concerns a project in the U.S. Joe Rizzo, Vice President of Business Development at the Cherry Companies, some of you may know, in the audience may know him very well, will tell us about the demolition project in Houston that yielded a recycling bonanza. Joe joined Cherry in 2001 and worked in concrete crushing sales and as a transportation division manager before transitioning into business development. His career before Cherry included 20 years as a paramedic, a firefighter with the Houston Fire Department. So please welcome Joe to the podium.
Opportunity to come in and talk to you today. I'm very blessed. What we have is a case study of a demolition project that was conducted in Houston. Once I finish the case study, I'm going to additionally talk to you about C&D recycling in the United States, specifically the Gulf Coast area. What we had was a 9-story concrete board-in-place structure that was nestled right in the neighborhood of Houston. So we recycled by weight 99% of this building. The start date on the job was December the 12th of 2015. We completed it on time and in budget by April of 16. The building was 1 mile approximately from downtown Houston. To the south of the building was Lakewood Church, has the largest congregation in Houston. To the north of the building was a 40-story high-rise office building, which was 90 feet away. To the east was a residential apartment complex, and to the west we had a major thoroughfare. So at Cherry, we always consider safety first and foremost. We had over 6,000 safe hours on this project. We had 0 incidents and a company-wide EMR experience modifier rate of 0.72. What we did to show appreciation for our employees, on the right side we held a appreciation lunch for having 0 incidents, and on the left side was a on-site safety professional that held daily safety toolbox meetings, and this one here is showing fall protection. But other topics that we did were dust suppressant, asbestos awareness, small tools inspection. This was the building that we took down. It had 9 stories. On top was a penthouse, 40 foot with steel I-beam construction on it. The whole complete building was still furnished, so we had opportunities for recycling. So we had to determine how we were going to take the building down. Our 4 options were hand deconstruction. We could use explosives. We could use a high reach, or we could come and go old school and use crane and ball. The hand deconstruction did not meet schedule, and the economics of doing it that way just didn't make sense. Using explosives with all the structures, especially the high-rise within 90 feet, wasn't an option either. Our high reach would have been next on the list to choose from, but due to the 4-foot columns and beams that the building was made of, it exceeded the capacity of the throat of the processor. So we chose to go old school with crane and ball. We had control of the building to bring it down. It met schedule needs, and the economics worked on it as well. This is a picture of us hand deconstructing the penthouse, and as this was going on, the interior crews were handling with all the furnishings. 75% of the office furnishings were sold for reuse. We removed all the electrical panels, all the electrical transformers, all the fixtures. We took out the emergency fire suppression system and sold it. We took the emergency electrical backup system and sold it. So from there, the interior salvage and demo was performed, only leaving the concrete and steel in the building. and there was 3,000 tons of this debris that went to landfill. The diversion of these materials was not optimal for us. There was two reasons why we couldn't recycle these. One was the lack of actual recyclers in our area, and the second was due to the tipping fees. On a national average, tipping fees in the United States are around $45 a cubic yard. In the Houston area, they're $6 a cubic yard. So it's a little bit of a difference. Here's a picture of the building in progress, and you can see the proximity of the 40-story building within the 90-feet area. We used a link belt 150-ton crane, had a 180-foot boom, and we used a 4-ton donut to bring this down. I'd like to show you an example of a commodity. There was 32,000 tons of concrete and steel that came off this project. It didn't go to a landfill, it went to a recycling facility that was located very close. It was over 1,400 tons, 1,400 loads by 18-wheeler that brought this in for recycling. And here's a bird's eye view of the building coming down. You can see the apartment complex over there to your right. Downtown Houston is up over on the top right. And you can see some of these 4 foot by 4 foot concrete beams that we had to deal with as well. But it came down on time, on budget, and again, there was a lot that was recycled off this project. Dust suppressant was used, and when we go back up here, you'll be able to see that the penthouse had already been removed prior to the crane being brought in. There was 9,000 pounds non-ferrous product was taken off the job site, mostly copper and aluminum. That was brought to close recyclers. There was 400 tons of carbon steel that was taken off the job and again brought to local recyclers. So how we come up with the 99% recycled by weight. 93% is representative of the building. 6% was representative of all the furnishings and all the electrical and fire components, with 1% going to a landfill. Recycling C&D in the United States, municipal solid waste estimates around 480 million tons are generated on an annual basis. 100 million of C&D mixed, 310 million tons of aggregate, 70 million tons of asphalt. What I'd like to do is give you a snapshot of a regional perspective of the Gulf Coast on recycling. This is a recycling yard. There at the 32,000 tons came in. Right here on the right-hand side, you'll see composition asphalt shingles. The next area up ahead, you'll see road asphalt pavement coming in and being recycled. And as we fly to the back of the yard here, there's a stabilized pug mill located here where we stabilize sand and also stabilize recycled aggregate back for road base. What I'd like to show you on this here is by recycling the concrete, we can make spec aggregate and different size aggregate at the same time. There's a little brown area over there, and that's where the rebar is taken from the concrete, and the rebar sold. The different gradations of aggregate is they're sold as well. This is the top of the hill. And I refer to the concrete as a commodity. By paying for the concrete, we decrease the amount of concrete that's going into the landfills. And the construction community in the general area of Houston know that, and they'll bring us their concrete, and we'll pay them for it. We'll downsize it, make different size spec material to be delivered back out to the construction industry. This is an example of 3x5 bull rock coming off of a belt. Again, it was a waste stream, and now it's being diverted from landfills. So by lowering your tipping fee and getting compensated for having it recycled is the way to go. The environmental benefits, it lowers emissions by not having to have that transported into a market that recycles it. So environmental friendly by recycling. This picture here is 3 examples of spec material. The one up top coming off the belt is 1.5 inch material that goes in for road base. Down on the bottom is your 3x5 rock, and over on the right hand side is your grade 1 riprap used for erosion control. Rebar, produce a bunch of it as we recycle our concrete. The United States is the largest exporter of ferrous scrap metal in the world. Estimates are around 37 million metric tons that are exported on an annual basis. We sell it both domestically and internationally at Cherry. Composition roof shingles, there's 2 types. You have tear-offs when someone gets a new roof, and you have manufacturer rejects. And what this is we grind the material to 3/8 inch to minus, or 1.5 inch to minus, and we introduce it back into hot mix. This is asphalt. Asphalt on this side over here is a 3/8 to minus, and on the other side is a portable crusher recycling it on site down 1.5 inch to minus. And 70 million miles of asphalt pavement reclaimed in the United States. 95% of it's reused or recycled. The same material can be used over and over again. And by combining the RAP, which is the recycled asphalt pavement, and the RAS, recycled asphalt shingle, at an 83% RAP, 17% RAS, you end up with a 7% oil content, and then that's sold as a blend back to your asphalt companies. Tires. United States scrap manufacturers recycle about 110 million tires on an annual basis. And the recycling is you can recycle whole tires and you can shred them. And those are primarily used for alternative fuel source. And the other is crumb rubber. And main usage of that is athletic fields, the manufacturing of new tires, landscape, and playgrounds. As demonstrated in the case study and the recycling, both can provide a real sustainable solution. And recycling continues to grow due to the free enterprise market here in the United States. I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Joe. Do we have any questions from any audience? I've got a quick question.
Sure.
When you're stockpiling rubber, what are the fire hazards for that? I know that around in New England, they don't want to allow us to stockpile it due to potential for fire. How do you guys deal with that?
Well, we're under the guidelines of TCEQ in Texas, and they tell us it has to be so many stacked and barrel stacked in an area with a fire lane that's accessible all the way around each stack that you have. That's the guidelines that we're under.
Fantastic. That's great. Are there any other questions? If not, thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate that.